You can. Yeah, you can absolutely do that, but you just got to be careful. So what you'll do is, I am that teacher will stay awake all night, being so worried about the observation. Did I remember to do this? I'm like, it always is never as bad as you think it's going to be.
Looked at things like distance, and we said that the further
you can decide what I am for Halloween, and I'll show you when I get to school. Happy Monday fun day, right? Well, today was a very busy day for me. I've been a very bad teacher vlogger. I did not have time to vlog this morning. I did not have time to vlog during my lunch or my prep today because simply it was just way too busy. But it was a good day. My students are focusing on the last piece of our unit on periodic trends by learning about something called Photoelectron Spectroscopy. And you're probably saying, wait a minute, that's an AP topic, and it absolutely is. So PES is something that we've used in in the AP curriculum, but I started using it last year, especially because with the NGSS, they keep pushing students to analyze and interpret data and construct explanations for that data. So with the recommendation of another colleague, we decided to do some photoelectron spectroscopy in the class to basically talk about the trend for ionization energy. This is the second year in a row that I'm trying it, and I have to say I really like it. I've in the past had the students graph different trends, and while that's cool, and the kids, do need help with graphing skills, of course, what student doesn't, I do kind of feel like, it's a lot more meaningful for the students when they're actually looking at some spectra and trying to interpret its meaning. And what's really great is I didn't actually have to give them the definition of ionization energy. They were able to kind of derive it from the actual activity, and so I really like that part. However, the activity is a little bit on the longer side, so I wasn't able to complete all of it, so that's why tomorrow we'll most likely finish it tomorrow, and then we'll look at some more practice problems with ionization energy. All in all, it was a great day, but tomorrow I am actually being observed. So it's my first observation of the school year. It's an announced formal observation, and typically I am a non-tenure teacher, so I only have 3 observations. I believe one has to be announced, but the other 2 don't have to be. The one is a long observation, so that's my formal observation tomorrow, and the 2 that are unannounced are typically shorter. So I want to say they're about 20 minutes, but don't quote me on that. Every school is different though, so it just really depends where you are. To be honest with you, I'm one of those teachers who's always prepared, so I'd almost rather not know. I'd rather you just come in, because honestly, I am that teacher will stay awake all night, being so worried about the observation. Did I remember to do this? Do I have to run copies for this? Yada yada. So I'm a little nervous, and no matter how good you are, I'm sure you get very nervous about observations. But to try and help with that, I would say the number one thing that you can do is just make sure that you're prepared. So tomorrow, I am being observed doing a lab that I actually have never done before. So I've never done it before, and I've actually never had the students construct their own procedure. So I'm also having them do that. So I'm having them design their own experiment to basically understand the trend for reactivity down a group and across a period. So I have to get ready for that. I'm going to do that really quick, and then hopefully be able to make some copies. So this is my setup for the lab tomorrow. The students will be investigating the trend for reactivity down a group and across a period. And of course, as you might expect, they'll be designing their own investigation. So they have a few tests to choose from. So they'll be using hydrochloric acid as a possibility. They'll be using the reaction of the metals with water. They'll also be testing for pH using red litmus paper. So it's really up to them for them to gather their data and decide, what tests are good enough to basically discern what the trend is. And then of course, as you might expect, they'll be expected to construct an explanation for this as well. The magnifying glasses are just for the students to be able to see some of the reactions up close. if they can't, for example, see what's going on in the well plate. I think I've talked about this in previous videos, but one of the things that I'm trying to do, at least for lab, is to basically record a quick 5-minute video about what the objective is of the lab is, what the safety is, just some things to look out for, cleanup procedures, disposal procedures, things like that. Mostly because the students run out of time typically when they're doing the lab in class, and they don't have a whole lot of time to answer the post-lab questions. So by recording the videos, it's kind of allowed them to be able to kind of know what to do when they come into the classroom and be ready for the lab and become familiar with a lot of the pieces of equipment. So they know pretty much, how to do these things, and they seem to really appreciate the videos. Of course, they have to watch the videos. So typically any student that doesn't watch the video will actually kind of sit out of the lab until I check that, in fact, they watched the video and answered the pertinent questions, and then they're allowed to rejoin. So if you're flipping your classroom, one thing that I recommend is, the most important thing is that the kids get the work done. So, if your requirement is, hey, you're going over safety in the pre-lab video, they absolutely cannot participate in lab until they watch that video. So that's typically what I do, and the kids will usually just take out their earbuds and start watching it. It doesn't matter really, how long it takes them to watch the video. If it eats up class time, that's really kind of on them, because it was their responsibility to watch it ahead of time. So it is about 4:30. I am going to make copies for my lab tomorrow for my observation. I think I'm going to prep some other stuff, but for the most part, the lab is ready to go. The lab is clean, so it should look pretty good for tomorrow, and I will let you know how my observation goes. Good morning. It is Tuesday, and it's also observation day. I am very excited to have an observer in my class today. I really kind of look at observations as my own test day. It's almost like they're grading me, and I look at it as really a way to just grow as an educator. I've been teaching for 12 years now. I can't believe how fast the time has gone by. But I feel that there's always something that you can improve, and there's always something that you can learn. So I'm very excited. I will let you know how it goes. It's first period of the day, so that's actually kind of good. The only downside, I guess, is the kids are a little sleepy, but fortunately they'll be doing a lab today, so it really shouldn't be that bad. Well, it is the end of the day on Tuesday. I had a pretty good day with my students. Of course, I started my day with my observation. My observation, I think, went pretty well. It wasn't the best observation, mostly because I think I'm just very critical of myself. I don't know, I guess at some points I felt like I was kind of awkward. But overall, I think it definitely showed, how I interact with the students. I think it showed, the students' personalities. I think it really showed how the kids interact with each other. And I think overall, I think it went very well. The kids were very engaged. However, it was the first time I was trying this lab activity that I wrote, and I do think that it worked very well. In fact, even one student said that it really helped them to understand what was going on, which I thought was awesome. Like, I was so happy that that the student vocalized that, this activity helped them to understand what was going on in class. And so I really appreciated that, because I think I heard her say, oh, this really helped. And I asked her, I said, what really helped? And she said, this lab, it really, helped to make sense. And I think the observer heard that, which I thought was good. So overall, I think it went well. Was it the best observation I ever had? Probably not. I don't really think of my observations as the best one I ever had. I think we're just so overly critical of ourselves that, we as teachers are always trying to improve and do better. And while I think that I did a good job, I don't feel it was the best job. I feel like there's always room for improvement. So after the students did the lab, they then took a formative assessment. So I opened up a Google form for them, and I wanted to kind of have something for the students to reflect on during the lab, from the lab, and then I was going to bring that as an artifact to my post-conference. So I'm not sure when that is yet, but I am on pins and needles waiting to hear how it went. Usually the administrator will actually send us a copy of the observation. That way we'll review it, and then we can sit down and talk about it. So So that is what I did with my first period class and my observation. Then any time that we had left over, we finished up our photoelectron spectroscopy team activity. And so the students are doing a really good job with that. They were assigned some extra practice, which really is just homework on ionization energy. And that's really the last topic before our unit test, which is scheduled for Friday. So next week we have actually a professional development day on Tuesday, and then we actually have Thursday and Friday off because it's teacher convention in Atlantic City for all New Jersey teachers. So I almost yawned. Did you see that? I am that tired. Anyway, so why was I telling you that? Oh, so I was telling you that because on Friday I really want to make it that test day because I really feel like a lot of students are going to be out because the students only have to be there 2 days next week. So that's why I'm going to get that test done on Friday. But then we had a drill today, which I was like, oh my God. So that drill took like probably 20 to 25 minutes. And so I lost a whole bunch of time with my one class. And I was like, oh my goodness. They were good about it. I think it'll be fine. Tomorrow they actually have labs. So if I can kind of blast through that lab with them, if they watch the pre-lab video, they should be able to. But if I could blast through that lab with them, I'll be able to give them time to work on and finish up their photoelectron spectroscopy. So that is my hope. Fingers crossed that I will be able to get through that because I really, really, really don't want to test on Monday because like I said, I think there's just going to be so many absences. So I have a few things that I need to finish up here, and then hopefully I'm going to get out of here as soon as possible, I hope. So I realized when I was working at my desk that I actually forgot to make a review video for the students as a review for their test on Friday. So right now what I'm doing is I'm preparing to make a review video using the FIZZ method. So I'm actually just documenting everything on the whiteboards so that I can just come in tomorrow and actually record the video. Okay, so here are my boards. I'm not much of an artist, so don't mind me. So whenever I'm doing the FIZZ method, I always try to just kind of sketch out the unit. So if you notice when I was kind of preparing, I was going through everything I had in my binder just to kind of make sure that I had the overall summary. So we begin our unit with alkali metals and water and trying to explain this phenomenon. Then we moved into Coulombic attraction and doing calculations with Coulomb's law. And then, and then we went to atomic radius and calculating effective nuclear charge to help us explain the group trend. Then we went to photoelectron spectroscopy. And then we went to ionization energy. Can you see behind me what time it is? Do you see it? It's a little late, but I'm actually feeling okay. So I think what I might do so I can actually sleep in a little bit tomorrow is record my video for the kiddos. And then once I record my video, then I am definitely going to get out of here because it was a stressful day. But it's about 6 o'clock. It's 6:03 now. So I'm hoping to be able to record this video in like the next half hour. And then I will go home and relax.
Looked at things like distance, and we said that the further these two charged particles are from each other, the less attractive force.
Morning. It is Wednesday, and it is also Halloween. So my Halloween costume, I'll give you a hint. I won't give it away just yet, but I have these, which I can't wear yet. And then I am also wearing this, and I do have a tail. So you can decide what I am for Halloween, and I'll show you when I get to school a little bit later what I did. But so today my students are still, some of them are still finishing up their photoelectron spectroscopy activity. And then, sorry, my nose is itchy. And then I do have lab with one of the classes, so they'll be doing the lab that I did yesterday that I was observed for. So that should hopefully go well because it did go well in that class. And then pretty much it's just getting through the madness of Halloween. I don't know about you, but my kids are always super excited, and I get it. I mean, it's fun, but I guess by high school, I kind of think that it will taper out, but it never seems to do that. So we will do the best we can today to get through and still learn some chemistry and, of course, prepare for our test on Friday. So, have you figured out what I am? I'm a cation. It's actually quite funny. My students in the middle of class will be like, I know what you are, you're a cation. Anyway, so that was kind of fun for them to see that. So I don't have too much time, but the morning started out pretty good. You know, my students were kind of joking with me, like, we're not going to do anything fun. I'm like, isn't everything we do in this class fun? So with that said, I'm going to get ready for my afternoon lab. I have some equipment and stuff to prep, and then it'll be the end of the day before you know it, and I'll check back in with you then. It is the end of the day on Wednesday. My students today, I guess, called me a killjoy quite a few times. No, they actually didn't. They were very, very good. But, you know, it's Halloween, yes, and it's a fun time, sure, and it's a time that you can express yourself and dress up as something that you're usually not, and that's great and all, but we still had work to do, and I think the madness was a little subdued because the kids still have their test on Friday. So we managed to get through a lot of stuff today. Some of the classes I was able to give a formative assessment, and then some of the other classes we finished our photoelectron spectroscopy, was talking about ionization energy, and then I even had lab with one of the classes. Overall, it went well. I really think that they'll be in really good shape for their test on Friday because, you know, I stayed late last night making a review video for them. And then also I have a study guide for them, and that's the plan for tomorrow, to kind of give them an opportunity to ask questions if they have it. You know, I always say, you know, I offer my extra help all the time. I offer extra help in the morning. I offer extra help after school. Nobody's showing up, so I'm assuming they're good. I mean, I don't know what else to assume. So, I mean, I don't know, whatever. It is what it is, you know. But like I said, I do the formative assessments, so that really helps me to kind of know where they are. So with that said, I am going to get out of here because I was here way too late last night and I am tired and I need to just relax and go home and enjoy some of the neighborhood kids. They are very cute. They knock on my door and give them candy and get them all sugared up for their parents. But with that said, I will check back in with you tomorrow for Thursday. Can't believe it. Went by really quick.
Because we're seeing through this trend.
We'll try to do it again with another one.
Oh no, actually might be a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a little bit.
You have plenty to retest if you wanted to. You absolutely could. You can. Yeah, you could absolutely do that, but you just got to be careful. So what you'll do is you'll pick up the thing and then touch it with your hand. So pick up the well plate.
Oh, this is the bottom
help
of it?
you? Yeah. So I'll pick it up and you just put your finger underneath. That's the proper way to. Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Well, it is the end of the day on Thursday, and I am exhausted. Oh my gosh. So, you know, it's something like, I guess, the day before a test, I just feel like I'm constantly like answering like a million questions, which is fine. I guess part of me just wishes that they were asked in advance. But that's okay. It is what it is. You know, at this point, test is tomorrow, so hopefully we kind of cleared up any discrepancies and concerns, misconceptions, all those things. So I am just looking forward to tomorrow being test day, being able to kind of, you know, supervise them, obviously, but take a minute to kind of just breathe, and then I have to grade all of them. So that'll be tomorrow, but overall it was a good day, just a review day pretty much. I did give a formative to my classes, and for the most part they did very well. So I'm anticipating tomorrow being a pretty good test day for them. So with that said, I have a tutoring appointment, so I need to get out of here, but I will check back in with you tomorrow. Good morning. It is Friday and TGIF. I am exhausted today. Fortunately, I am giving a test, so that'll make things, I think, a little bit easier. The kids will be working for most of the period, but I guess, as I've mentioned, whenever you give a test, you have a whole lot of grading to do, and unfortunately, that will pretty much consume my weekend. But with that said, I'm optimistic. I think the students are going to do great today, and Sorry. And I think that, overall, I think that they have learned a lot in our unit on periodic trends, and we definitely took our phenomenon throughout the unit, which I think is definitely a goal that I had. I find that when I'm trying to teach using the NGSS, I have a difficult time kind of figuring out when to revisit the phenomenon, and I think by giving the kids time to reflect has really helped with that. So I am on my way to school to copy their tests because I just had to get out of there yesterday. So it's about 6 o'clock, and we should be ready to go. Hi, it is the end of the day on Friday. The day went pretty quickly, I would say. It usually does that whenever I tend to have a test. I didn't get a lot of grading done. Thought I heard something. I didn't get a lot of grading done, so I am sitting here and hoping to grade at least one class, so that way I can kind of be a little bit of ahead and I don't have that much work to do this weekend. But overall, it was a good day. The students said that the test wasn't as bad as they thought, and I'm like, it always is never as bad as you think it's going to be. And you know what? You're still alive, you know, even if you don't think you did as well as you'd hoped, everything's still fine. So with that said, I'm going to grade this class and then hopefully not leave here too late, but we'll see how it goes. Well, it is about 5 o'clock. I finished my first class. They did pretty well on their test. I think I'm looking at the average. The average was around an 85. The mean was around an 86, so not too shabby. I think spending more time on talking about, you know, my expectations for explanations really helped this year. I was a lot more explicit as far as the things that I expect the students to include whenever they're trying to explain trends for atomic radius or ionization energy, even ionic size. And so I think overall that really helped to improve the students' scores. You know, they did very well on the photoelectron spectroscopy, which I thought was really cool. I really love that stuff. It was fun to kind of look at that and make sense of it, and I think the kids enjoyed it too. So overall, pretty happy. What I'm not happy about is that I have 3 more classes to grade, and this is a long test because I swear there must be like some of it's multiple choice, but yeah, it's like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 explanation questions, and you know, it's a lot to sort through. So I don't think I'm going to be able to do another class set tonight because I'm just too tired. Plus next week I'm actually giving a webinar for the AACT, so I'm very excited to do that. And so I really need to spend time getting ready for that. So this weekend is going to be a very jam-packed weekend. Fortunately, I don't have that much planning to do though, because next week is Teachers Convention. And so if you're in New Jersey and you're part of the Teachers Union, they have a New Jersey, I guess, union or NJEA, right? So New Jersey Education Association convention in Atlantic City. But I am not going. I'm actually never gone, and I probably should one of these years. I've been teaching for 12 years and I've never gone, mostly because I just want, you know, time off and time to relax and get caught up on things. And in fact, I'm, you know, going to a doctor's appointment, and so, you know, I just kind of need that time to reprieve and take care of myself and clean my house and do all those things that we don't really get a time to do when we're in school. So I'll be doing that instead. And yeah, so this week was a great week. I did get my observation back, so I got my post observation write-up, which was great. It was very complimentary, and I'm pausing because there were some things in there that I was like, wow, I didn't even realize that I knew that I did that. I didn't even realize that that it could be like a signal to like assist the students to kind of move on as a transition. So it was just really interesting to read. You know, the students made it so easy though. I mean, they really did a great job and were very cooperative and helpful, and I was very happy to represent, them and our class, to the observer. So I'm excited. So next week is my post conference where I'll get to discuss a little bit more, and I'm looking forward to hearing some thoughts about my classroom environment and, the thoughts on how I can improve some of the things that I'm doing in the class. But other than that, I hope you had a great week with your students. I hope you are taking care of yourself, because again, you are going to be no good to anybody if you don't take care of yourself. So with that said, I hope you have a great week next week, and I will talk to you in 2 weeks. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for watching to the end of this video. I hope you found the information helpful as you teach science to your students. I really don't want to lose touch, so please make sure that you hit both like and subscribe so you get notifications every time I post a new video, and I'll catch you later.